Hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I put together 20 Thanksgiving Dollar Tree DIYs for you. And all of these Thanksgiving DIYs are going to have a little bit of a coastal vibe. So I got really creative on a lot of these. I am going to use one of these little bamboo rings from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the smaller one. And then I picked out 5 packages of rope, and I think that was exactly what I ended up using on this one. This is your wider rope, not the real skinny kind from Dollar Tree, but the brown rope. And we are going to make a DIY cornucopia with this, and I'm so excited with how it turned out. Now to start with, I just loop the end like that. And it doesn't matter if you still have your tape on it because you're not going to be able to see this part. And I just glue that part together and then just start wrapping from the end around. This is going to be the very tip of the tail of my cornucopia. And we are going to fill this up with all kinds of beach and fun coastal decor. So I wrapped it around another time there, and then I added hot glue to my little loop that I'm using kind of as just a starter piece, and glued that right around too. Now I'm going to kind of, the tail part's going to be kind of skinny like this. I just kind of keep wrapping. I'm hot gluing it to the rope in the center, but also to each other because I don't want any gaps. I want them to sit right next to each other. And we are going to build the entire cornucopia this way. So as you can see, as I'm doing it, I'm kind of going a little bit wider each time. And I can do that by just putting the hot glue towards the outside of the rope and then wrapping it around. I'm also curving it a little bit as I wrap so I could get like that little curved point right there. If you ever notice any of your rope is not stuck together, just put a little bit of hot glue back in there until you get a tight bond in between each one. You do have to glue it all the way around. So not only does this project take a lot of rope, it also takes a lot of glue. Now, I thought if I put a little piece of wire, this is some thicker wire from Dollar Tree, in the tip, I can make it moldable later if I needed to curve this back up. And I thought that might help me kind of keep a curved shape here at first. So I just cut off a little piece, put that down in there, and then that's a nice thick wire, so I should be able to bend it later if I need to. And then I want to go wider and wider. So I'm making sure that I do the hot glue towards the edges of the rope, gluing that to itself like that. Now I'm going to have lots of starts and stops with the rope today, since I'm making a large cornucopia with this. And you just try to hide it the best that you can. Just trying to get as tight of a joint as you can in between two pieces and just continue on. You can always go back later and add a little bit more hot glue to that and work with it until you can kind of blend that in a little bit. And I'm kind of using my wire as a guide too, so I know kind of exactly how much I want to curve it, because this part is really important for the curved part of the cornucopia to give it that traditional cornucopia shape. And as you can see, I am really going around the outsides now with that hot glue and making it larger and larger. My goal is to get it large enough to fit inside that little wood bamboo ring from the Dollar Tree. I thought that would give it structure, since we're not using any kind of chicken wire or anything like that. That will give it structure to make sure the mouth of it is round and stays open, but it's just a matter of building it out. And I think this turned out really cute. I've done like cornucopias and stuff before, but I usually use like thrifted items and stuff like that. And I really love how this one turned out. It was so fun. It does take a little time. I think I spent an hour in actual time making this. So be prepared for that, but it is so fun. Now, if you didn't want to use it for coastal Thanksgiving, you could totally use it for a traditional Thanksgiving theme too. and put like fruits and different kinds of traditional like cornucopia stuff inside. And that would be really cute. Maybe some little pumpkins and stuff like that. Now here is my next package. Again, I just try to blend in where I start and stop and just continue on gluing this to each other. Just have to make sure that you get hot glue on it. I was pretty fast that I could go all the way around with like one swoop without my glue drying before I could kind of lay that down. And that kind of sped up the process a little bit. So I would just go all the way around. Now, once I got to this point, I wanted it to be wider and wider and wider, right? So it could be big enough for that wood ring, but I don't necessarily want the bottom part to be any wider because I want it to lay flat like this. So what I'm doing now is I'm specifically putting the glue in the middle on the bottom, but then I am going around the outside perimeter with the glue all the way else, all like the sides, the top, if you know what I mean, to try to make it bigger and bigger, but not make the bottom any wider, to kind of give it like kind of a flatter edge down there. And we are getting there. Let's go ahead and open another package. And the bend was not perfect for me on this, but I think it definitely has that fun cornucopia shape. So again, I just start and stop. I'm really not lining those up on any particular side. It's going to have joints here and there on it, just the way it works when you are working with the rope. I keep measuring with my little wood ring there too to see how big, how much bigger I need it to be. And the rope itself is giving you all the structure. So anytime you see any gaps or anything that's not holding, I would just go back and fill that in with hot glue as soon as you can. And this is getting about the right size. So let's finish off this piece of rope and see if it's large enough. And I think that is big enough. I'm gonna just kind of, you know, rearrange this, kind of feel it out, make sure everything is, you know, shaped exactly the way I want it to be. You can shape it slightly. And then the little bamboo ring, I'm going to wrap that around the edge like that where I can attach it to it. So I think that's going to work. So I do a bead of hot glue all the way around. And I'm going to put the wood ring on there to glue that on. We're going to cover that up with more Dollar Tree rope. I do want it to be kind of flat here on the end where I started and stopped though. So I am going to have to trim up that last piece of rope to kind of blend that in. And so I just do that with my scissors by trimming that off. And I have that piece glued on, so that provides a little bit of structure. But then if I go around it with more Dollar Tree rope, then I can like finish that off and give it like a finished edge. And it should be a little bit larger around the perimeter here. So I think that's going to work. I just start right here in the front, right on the bottom, hot gluing kind of the rope to itself right there. And we are just going to go around, and the first row, we just hot glue to that first row of rope that we have there until we go all the way around. And then we can just start looping that around. This time we're gluing it to the wood. And then just keep that spiral fashion going until we cover up all of the wood ring, and it just provides a nice bit of structure there to a pretty much structureless cornucopia. And I'm pretty much going to use all my rope, but I might as well make the seam on the bottom. So I'm going to cut it off there, hot gluing that tip down. Isn't that cool? I think it turned out really fun. I was really happy with it. Now you are going to have to clean up any excess hot glue. I like to use my heat gun to kind of melt it down because sometimes I get a little crazy with too much hot glue, but I don't really want any of the hot glue to be visible. I just really want that beautiful rope to show through. And I think that's just a really fun variation of the cornucopia, and it's definitely coastal for sure since it's made out of rope. I also go back and find any of my little joints in there, make sure they're tight, and hot glue them if they need it. That's what it looks like on the inside. So that's one reason I wanted to do it this way. So it would be pretty inside and out in case you can see in there. And I have a few areas I just need to glue just to make them a little bit tighter. I'm pretty much checking the whole thing for integrity. And then we can fill this up with some fun beachy supplies. Whenever I work with rope, though, I like to burn off all the fuzzies. I think it always just cleans it up a little bit. And the rope from the Dollar Tree can be a little bit rough. So I'm just going to do that by taking a lighter all around it to burn all of those off. Now, if you don't have Dollar Tree rope and you have like a thicker brown rope, this project would be even easier because, of course, you know, the thicker the rope, the less you're going to have to wrap it around and glue it to itself. So probably would speed the process up a little bit, but I definitely wanted to do a Dollar Tree version. So I picked out a lot of beachy items and we can see what we can fill this fun cornucopia up with. I'm going to start with some of the Dollar Tree Spanish moss. I think that's going to look good inside in there. And it's going to provide a nice filler. And I want some of it like spilling out of the cornucopia. And we're just going to fill it up with pumpkins and some beachy items. You could use seashells, gourds, whatever you have. I was kind of thinking, do I want to do like the sweater pumpkins? And I think that's going to look cool because I have some great colors that's going to go with the beachy decor. This first one was on a pick from the Dollar Tree, but I loved it because it was like a light blue, a little sweater pumpkin. And so I just use my heat gun to try to melt the glue so I can get that cutie off and we can just sit that right inside now. That's going to be like my largest one. And then they also have these little blue sweater pumpkins from the Dollar Tree that have the little clips on the bottom of them, which is great because I can just clip that into the Spanish moss to keep that right in place. And I'm trying to do like different colors. So I also picked up some of like the lighter burlap ones too. I do want to add some leaves too though. So I thought these little burlap oak leaves from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. I don't really need the wire to be on them though. So I'm just peeling the wire off the back and we can kind of have those coming out of the cornucopia as well. It's going to provide like a fun little fall touch. And the burlap pattern definitely goes with the beachy feel. So I kind of put one on each side. You can kind of just lay them in there like I'm doing. I do hot glue a few items in place just to kind of make sure they stay together. And then this was the other color I was talking about, and it does have a clip on the bottom too. So I can just pop that in there, clip that to the Spanish moss, and that'll help keep that in place too. And that pretty much fills up the cornucopia, but of course I wanted to do some beachy items too. So we're gonna keep like kind of filling this out. I thought one of these sand dollars from the Dollar Tree would be really cute. Just trying to figure out how to get that to fit. And then I'm going to do another one of those little burlap fall leaves to kind of make it come out a little bit more right here in front. Because again, I do want it to look like a cornucopia, like spilling out. But I do want to try to keep the items kind of attached to each other if I can. Now, since I have the leaves coming out, I kind of want the Spanish moss to come out too. So I just fill it in a little bit more with Spanish moss and then kind of pile some like falling out of the cornucopia too that I can attach to that leaf there with a little hot glue to kind of keep that all together. And just making sure it's nice and full with the Spanish moss while I have it out. Then for the sand dollar, I couldn't really get it to fit in the cornucopia, so I thought we could kind of attach it to the side like this where you can see it. So I just do a little bead of hot glue and glue that to the side of my cornucopia. If you want to change out your cornucopia every year, you're probably going to want to avoid hot gluing it to it, but I will probably leave this the same because I think it turned out so cute and beachy. So I wanted to do like a variety. So I've got like the different colors of blues and tans, the burlap, the Spanish moss. I thought, of course, a Dollar Tree starfish would be really cute too. Just trying to figure out where to put it. And then like just a seashell from the beach. I had like a little bleached seashell. I just kind of sit inside where you can kind of see that. And I also hot glue down the larger pumpkin to kind of keep it in place because that one did not have a clip on the bottom. And we're going to hot glue the little starfish like right here, like it has fallen out of the cornucopia by gluing that to the little burlap leaf. And then I thought maybe one more of those little burlap leaves over here to kind of make it a little bit more symmetrical. And then I can glue another one of those seashells to that. I don't want it too much stuff, but I definitely want it to look full and beachy for fall. So since I did the Spanish moss underneath the other leaf, I did this one as well, just by gluing a little tiny piece of it underneath there. And I think this looks really fun. What do you guys think about my little coastal cornucopia for Thanksgiving? This is how it turned out. I think it's so fun. It really does have that cornucopia shape. It's nice and large. You could sit this again on your Thanksgiving table as part of the center of your table, but you could lay this around anywhere, a coffee table, even in your kitchen if you have room for it. But I thought it was a fun way to just DIY one of those from scratch. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's Thanksgiving DIY video? If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do better here on YouTube. So this DIY, we're going to turn one of these little galvanized metal pots that I just got at the Dollar Tree and some of these little metallic salad plates into a really cute coastal pilgrim hat. So I thought these plates were the perfect size. These are the party plates kind of in the wedding section at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use a couple of them just because they're thin, but I like the fact they're already metallic. Because we are going to leave the galvanized metal finish on the little pilgrim hat. I think it's going to go with the coastal feel. The only challenge of this pot is getting that super sticky label off the bottom of it. But I think we're going to have success here. I'm going to use it, galvanized metal, unfinished, and then using the twine that's wrapped around the top of the pot. When I have it upside down like this, that's going to act like the strap on the little pilgrim hat. So I thought this was going to be an easy DIY and it turned out really cute. Now for the buckle, I just picked out some felt. I had this beautiful light blue felt left over from Easter. And so I'm just going to use a tiny little square of that to cut out a little buckle. I was trying to think of something to use for this, and I really wanted like a soft beachy blue color. So I think this is going to be perfect, and it's easy to work with too. You just have to kind of cut a smaller square inside your larger square, and you can just do that by folding it. And then it's going to leave you a cute little square cut out that you can use for a buckle. And I love the fact that the twine is already on this pot. It just saved me a step. But if you only have like a galvanized metal bucket that doesn't have the twine wrapped around it, you could easily recreate that by wrapping yours with twine. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue mine on. I don't want it to overlap the bottom too much, but I want the opening to be covered up by rope there on the inside. And then gluing the top on as well. Now, the galvanized metal finish is kind of like a blotchy metal finish. So I'm going to do a little bit of a makeover on the salad plates to kind of give them that blotchy metallic look too, so that it will coordinate a little bit better with the pot. But that's what the buckle looks like. And the twine looks pretty good, but I thought we could always burn off the fuzzies a little bit here to clean it up. And mine wasn't 100% attached either. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue that one back down. And I think we're finished with that part of the pilgrim hat. Now, when you sit it on there, as you can see, there is some of the white plate still visible, but I'm going to fill that all in with decor. So I think that's going to be fine. And again, those plates from the Dollar Tree are pretty flimsy. So I actually have 2 of them back to back just to make it a little bit thicker. You get a whole bunch in that package. Now to get that fun galvanized metal look, I just take some gray acrylic and just kind of blotch it all over. And then I just kind of dry it on there by dabbing like a paper towel all over to kind of give it that, fun look. I thought maybe it was a little bit too distressed. So I followed that up with a baby wipe and it did kind of like blend it in a little bit better. But in the end, I did get that look that I was going for. I kind of wish that I would have done this on the top of the hat too, because, as you can see, it's kind of shiny up there too. I might go back and do that now. Now, I told you I was using 2, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue them together just to make sure it stays together. That hot glue is hot. Did you see that smoke coming out from there? and then glue those together, and then we can just simply glue the pot on. You could do the top of your pilgrim hat with like other things too, like a sand bucket or something like that. But I really love the fact that I didn't have to paint this or anything. And I think that metallic look like that goes great with coastal decor. So I just glued it right to the center of the plate. And again, I know we have that little white ring around it, but we can fill that in with some Dollar Tree moss and some beachy items. So for the moss, we're going to use the brown floral moss. This is kind of messy, but it's that really small moss. So I don't need like a very large stripe of it around here. I just need enough to kind of cover that white area that I don't really want you to see. So I just put a bead of hot glue there and just start pushing little tiny amounts on this all the way around. Now I'm just going to decorate the perimeter of my pilgrim hat, but you could always go in and decorate the very top of yours too if you'd like. I did think about doing that. So just a little bead of hot glue, just a little bit, a tiny bit of moss, because I still want you to see like the brim of the hat. And then I grabbed some things to decorate it with. I thought I was going to be able to do pumpkins and stuff like that, but I didn't really have any pumpkins that were quite small enough. So we're going to kind of fill it in with some little tiny beachy things. I thought a starfish would be perfect. I actually have a real one here from Amazon. It's pretty much the same size as the one from Dollar Tree. You could totally use that one if you have it, but I just want to kind of glue it to the side of the buckle so you can still see the buckle. So I just do a couple dots of hot glue to glue that kind of standing up. It's kind of a large piece, but it's kind of a statement piece there for coastal decor. And then also a little glue here on the tip just to make sure that stays in place. Now, so far, what I'm not liking about that tip on the hot glue gun is I'm getting a lot of stringing, and it is kind of stringing glue on my workstation. It did get better the longer that I crafted, but I'm not sure why that was happening. I might have to try out a few more of the tips. Now for the seashells, I am just using those little mini seashells that you get in the little glass bottles at the Dollar Tree. I like to dump mine out so that they're a little bit easier to find and craft with. And I'm just going to glue an assortment of those all the way around the little pilgrim hat. And I thought it needed a little bit more. So I also have some of these little mini starfish. I get these on Amazon too. I have both these and the larger ones linked in my Amazon shop below under, I think, beach essentials. And they are great for crafting because they're so little and cute. So I'm just going to kind of scatter some of those out and maybe one more seashell. I think that's what I should have on merch, maybe one more seashell, because I'm always adding one more shell to a project. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal pilgrim hat. I think this is so fun. You could use this on your Thanksgiving table or just sitting anywhere around your home to give you a little festive touch for Thanksgiving. I think it turned out really sweet, and it was really easy to do with just a couple items there from the Dollar Tree. And it does kind of look like a little pilgrim hat, right? But with also a little bit of a coastal flair. I really love that. Hey guys, have you checked out my new website yet? I'm in the process of getting it updated. It is craftybeach.net. You can see all of my projects I make in my YouTube videos. You can pin them on Pinterest so you can remember to go back and DIY them. Now for the next DIY, I thought we could turn one of these little bottle cap signs from the Dollar Tree into a little mini pumpkin pie. We're going to do a little coastal version of this. For the pie itself, I'm using one of those little flat circle foam pieces from the Dollar Tree, styrofoam. And make sure you get the one that's small enough to fit inside the bottle cap. I think they do come in 2 different sizes. Now for the pumpkin pie, I picked up some of this adhesive cork from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, and it's just the right color for pumpkin pie. So I'm just going to lay my little circle on the back so I can trace that out with a Sharpie. And then I can cut that adhesive cork down to size. I love crafting with this stuff. It's really easy to cut. It's peel and stick. And I think this is going to give us a really fun texture for the top of our pumpkin pie. How we're going to make this coastal is we are going to use some Dollar Tree white nautical rope. And we're also going to display this little pie on a light blue beachy color for the candle holder, which is kind of be like a cake stand. So I just peel and stick the cork right directly to my foam. I didn't do a perfect job of cutting out my circle, so I just went around and kind of sanded off any of the excess, kind of shaping that up a little bit, but I'm going to have like the little pie crust edge going around the pie, and so that will kind of hide that. I put hot glue in the bottom of the little bottle cap and layer a little mini pumpkin pie right inside, gluing that in place. So that's what it looks like so far. And then for the pie crust, we're just using the Dollar Tree white rope. I have like a spare piece, the thicker white rope. It's going to fit, I think, nicely in there. I do want to kind of shape up the end here so it's not super frayed out because I don't really want you to be able to see the seam too much. And we are going to wrap that around the little pumpkin pie. It actually just fits perfectly in there. You can kind of wedge it between your pie and the sides of the little pie plate. Not really a pie plate, I think it looks like one, so we're going to make it look like that. So I wrap it all the way around, trimming off the excess and then just kind of pushing that down in there, trying to blend in the edges. And that's going to give it a fun little coastal take for our little pumpkin pie. I think it's looking super sweet. Now for the whipped cream, we're going to use some of this all-purpose caulk and mastic from Dollar Tree. I didn't have any tips to do like a fancy whipped cream thing with this. So we're going to try our best here just by squeezing it out, doing a little dollop of whipped cream right in the middle of our pumpkin pie. And I did have to add to it. I kind of wanted it to look a little bit larger because it's not just like one slice. It is like an entire little pie. So I did kind of make it as big and as tall as I could. I do notice that after it sits a while, it does kind of flatten out a little bit. So you might need to add some more to yours. I'm going to let mine sit up a little bit. This is the blue candle holder that we're going to use for the little like pie stand. And as it dried, it did kind of flatten out a little bit. So I will add some more whipped topping to the top of that. But first, I'm just going to kind of tack mine on. You don't have to do this step, but I kind of like to keep my pieces all together. So I just do a bead of hot glue all around the candle holder and glue the metal pan in place. Just trying to make sure I get it centered on there. You might want to do this step before you add your whipped cream because it would have been easier to line this up if I had the pie like upside down. But right now, I don't want to mess up with my whipped cream. So since it flattened out, I did go back after it started to dry up a little bit and added more whipped cream so it'd make it kind of like stand up a little higher. You could also use spackle from the Dollar Tree mixed with white paint and kind of put that in an icing bag if you wanted. It's going to give you kind of a similar effect. And then I just used a popsicle stick to kind of swirl mine until I was happy with it. It's one of those things that if you work too much on it, it's not really going to look like whipped cream. So it kind of needs to look kind of unintentional. And this is how it turned out, our little mini pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving with a few coastal touches. We have the blue stand, the rope pie crust, and the galvanized metal little pie plate. I think this was really fun to put together and could be a quick, easy DIY that just about anyone could do. Now for the next DIY, I picked up one of these pumpkins. These are new this year. Aren't these really nice? They're nice and chunky. They definitely stand up on their own because they are nice and heavy. I'm just going to remove the bow, the leaf, and flip mine over. I decided it would probably be easier to remake the back of mine than try to cover up the front and worry about the sign and stuff on there that I have to pop off. So I'll just make this a two-sided sign. All I had to do was remove that sticky sticker on the back and then it's ready to paint. Now I didn't really have any paint in the color of teal, so we're going to kind of mix it by mixing some turquoise and just some like lake blue color. And the sides are already that color, so it's going to be really easy DIY. I'm just going to go over the whole thing, the stem and the pumpkin with that teal color, and I'm going to do a couple of coats because it's kind of hard to cover the back of those Dollar Tree signs like that. It's kind of that MDF material. It's a little bit harder to paint, but I probably should have made sure that I got it a little bit more dry than I did because I'm going to use that self-adhesive stencil and they're a little bit stickier than I remember. But I did do 2 coats, and I did dry it with my heat gun. And this little one is so cute. I've used this a couple times in other fall DIYs. I love this print. It's kind of like a wallpaper of fall image, and it's just a giant sticker. It's a little bit larger than the pumpkin, so I think it's going to work perfectly. I'm just going to kind of line it up here with the bottom kind of having it slightly cut off on the sides. And it covers everything except for the stem of the pumpkin, so I think that's going to be perfect. Now for the pattern, I just use a Dollar Tree stencil dauber and some ivory paint. I'm just going to go over it with 1 coat. I was a little worried about the stencil adhesive on that, so once I got that painted, I just gave it a quick dry with my heat gun and peeled it off quickly to try to minimize any paint damage. And as you can see, I did have some paint damage, but I think we can salvage it because I did want to add something to it anyway, so I think that's going to work. And I want it to look really coastal for the coastal farmhouse vibe, so just using a standing sponge from the Dollar Tree, I just go all over it to kind of rough it up a little bit. But look how beautiful that pattern is. I think it looks so much better on this side. Now, I wanted something coastal to add to it, so I'm going to use a Dollar Tree sand dollar. Again, these are a little bit tinted gray, so I'm just going to give mine a makeover with a little ivory paint. And then we can just attach that sand dollar to the front. You won't be able to see the area that got damaged by the stencil, but be careful with those self-adhesive stencils from the Dollar Tree. They're a little bit stickier than you would think they would be. So I'm just going to glue mine right on top. It's going to make this a little bit off-centered for where I would probably normally put it, but not too bad. At least it's centered, right? And then I didn't really have enough of that stencil pattern to cover the stem of the pumpkin, so I do want to go back and kind of decorate that as well. But basically, I think that great fall design that we hand painted on there, combined with the little sand dollar, makes it really beachy and fun. Now, this is some of the Shore Living twine I've been using today. It's the brown and the white. It's kind of like a baker's twine. You can kind of use whatever you have. I just tied mine around the little pumpkin stem, and then we're just going to simply wrap that around to cover the entire stem. Now, the sides of it are already teal, so it goes perfectly with the little pumpkin that we DIY'd. This one was quick and easy, but a fun DIY for Thanksgiving, especially if you're going for the coastal theme. I'm just going to hot glue that once I got it all covered and trim off the excess. And then I thought just a final touch to the top. It already had this little raffia bow on the leaf that was on the other side, so we might as well use it. I think that will look really cute. I just take it off the leaf and hot glue that right there to the pumpkin stem, and this DIY is complete. I think it's so beachy and fun. I absolutely love that fall pattern, and this is how it turned out. I kind of like the distressed feel that we got from going with that stencil and having to sand it to match the scratches that were right there. But I think the sand dollar did a great job of covering that up for us. Now for the next DIY, I designed a really fun coastal Thanksgiving turkey, and I have a printable for you guys. So in the description below, you should be able to find this in my Google Drive and print it out for yourself. I made it 8.5 by 11. I printed it out as large as my printer will go on cardstock. And we're going to use one of these Dollar Tree frames to frame it out, kind of make it look like a canvas. Now, one thing I've noticed about these Dollar Tree signs is they always make the little hangers off-centered, and if you don't fix that right away, you're going to have a crooked picture. So I removed the side one because that gets in the way, and then I fixed the top one because I knew it was off-center just by looking at it. And you can use any of these. I like this one because it has a lighter wood frame, so I think that looks really coastal. I won't have to do anything to it. Just a matter of trimming down the sides on this. My printer, I had like a clogged inkjet on this, and oh my goodness, I ran so many cleanings and things to be able to print this out. It took me like 2 hours. So frustrating sometimes. That printer usually is fantastic. I don't know why it got clogged like that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So basically, I'm just going to trim this down to fit. It's not going to fit perfectly, but it's pretty much going to fill the whole thing in. And I think this image is so funny. It is a little turkey with shades on the beach. And then I added thankful for the beach. And it was really fun to make. I actually used AI to create that image and it made me laugh. So I had to share it all with you guys. So I just do a thick coat of Mod Podge all over. I want it to be rather thick because the cardstock is a little bit heavier than a regular sheet of paper. And just lay that in there, trying to keep like the brown border parts, even if I can. If you don't get it on there perfect the first time, you do have a little bit of play with the cardstock versus paper. And so you can lift it and relay it on there if you need to. But they did kind of take the glue off the corner, so I am going to kind of touch that up. I want it to kind of look like a framed canvas. And so I really want it not to look like paper. So I go over the top of it as well to seal that down. And I'm using matte Mod Podge, and it's going to kind of give me like a texture, kind of like a painting. So I do like the brush marks and stuff in that as well. So I'm just going to do a brush for that and give that a quick dry. This is going to help keep it on, make it more of a permanent decoration. And I also released this image on some of my merch. I did share a link to that in my YouTube community post and on Facebook, where I put this image like on a pillow or a t-shirt, an apron. I thought it was really fun. So I decided to have a little fun with this. And there it is, our little thankful for the beach. Super easy DIY. And that turkey is living his best life. Now, I didn't really like the fact that it was so bright. So I did go back with a little ivory acrylic. And we are just going to distress the whole thing. It's just going to kind of lighten this up, give it an aged like coastal farmhouse vibe. I just wipe off the excess paint and blend it all in with a baby wipe and then go back and dry that in. And it gave me just a more coastal farmhouse version of this. But yeah, that step is totally optional if you like it just as colorful as the image was. But I think this turned out really fun. I was really happy with how it turned out. And it makes me smile every time I look at it. I think I'm going to hang this in between my kitchen and my dining room for Thanksgiving. And this one is definitely a keeper. So again, I will post a link to your free printable below with this image that I designed. And you can get creative with it. You can put this image on whatever you think would look good. But I think it turned out really fun. Now for the next DIY, I thought we could do a fun tray. I wanted to do a coastal tray, but I also wanted it to be a little bit fall because we're going to display some fun fall items on this. So we're going to start with just a Dollar Tree pizza pan. I know people make stuff with these all the time. I don't craft with them a lot, but sometimes they can be really useful. I like this because it is the perfect size for a tray. It's nice and strong. I want to cover the bottom of it with some removable wallpaper. This is that wallpaper from the Dollar Tree in my favorite blue palm beachy print. You know, I have not seen this print at Dollar Tree for months now. Have you guys not seen it at your stores too? I have stocked up so much on this, so I think I'm good for a while because it's my absolute favorite one. But I don't understand why they would discontinue this one because in my opinion, it is the prettiest one. So I just kind of creased it, kind of give a rough cut area where I can cut that down to fit inside. Doesn't have to be perfect. And it was not quite long enough. So I am going to have to use a strip of another piece to line that up. And the patterns do like match up perfectly like that. So I'm just going to cut that little tiny piece and we can kind of fit that all together to give me a seamless bottom. Now we're going to go around the sides of the tray with Dollar Tree rope. So if you wanted to go a little wider with that, you probably wouldn't have to do a second piece if you only had one piece of this removable wallpaper. I love this print. Dollar Tree, if you discontinued it, you need to bring it back. I'm just going to lay that down and peel and stick the little side piece as well. And then we can start building out the sides of the tray. Now, the sides of the pizza pan automatically go up already, so that's going to give me a little bit of area to kind of make edges for the tray. And also, I want to cover up the edges of the wallpaper to give myself a clean circle. I'm going to start like on the outside edge. So I just started here with a bead of hot glue along the outside of the pizza pan. I don't mind if the very edge of the metal is exposed. That's going to give me kind of a coastal feel, the metal and the rope. And then I'm just gluing that rope all the way around. This is the Dollar Tree brown rope that's a little bit thinner, so it's a little bit longer. And you could always use the thicker one as well, too. You would just have to go around not as many times. Once I go all the way around, I'm going to try to get that as tight as I can by bending it and then continuing that around, hot gluing that along the edge. About 2 rows of this rope covers that pizza ledge there. And I think that is pretty good right there. So I cut that down to size, hot gluing that on, and then we can go back in with some more rope to kind of cover up the edges and the side walls here of our tray. So I'm going to start in the same place. I can always put my handle over there so that you won't see where I start and stop the rope. And I'm hot gluing this piece straight to the sides where it starts to go up on the pizza pan. All the way around. I found I could do about 1/4 of the pizza pan with my hot glue before it started to set up. And I was thinking 1 more row. So I'm going to continue that one on and glue this together. So a total of 4 rows of rope for the sides of my tray. I'm going to make sure that my end is right here on the side where all of my other ones were, so I can hide that later. And then I'm going to go back and kind of burn off any of the fuzzies. And this makes a perfect little tray. I have this great turkey that I found at Goodwill that I have to show you that I'm going to use to decorate this. I absolutely love it. Goodwill and thrift stores are a great place to find turkeys. You can always redo them if you need to. And I can find them there more often than I can even find turkeys at the store. Now for the handles, since I wanted to give it a slight fall touch, everything's been beachy so far, I decided to use the little burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree, these little oak leaves, and use the wire in them to kind of form handles because I can kind of arch it up like that. And then I can glue the tips of the leaf. I'm going to glue one right there where all of my ropes come together with hot glue. And then arch it up and then glue down the other side. Now, they're not the strongest handles in the world, but I think they'll work. And it was a fun way to add a little bit of fall to this tray. Now, if you wanted your little beachy tray to be something that you can use for any season, you could always make little tray handles with more rope. And you could even switch it up and maybe do like the white rope for handles. But I wanted mine to be a coastal fall tray. So that's why it's going to have little leaf handles. And the wire worked great to keep those kind of arched up. So I did the same thing on the other side, kind of reversing the direction to make them look like fallen leaves. And this is the turkey that I was talking about. How cool is this? I absolutely love this. I got this at Goodwill for like $2.99, and it looked like the original person had bought it at Kmart. So I miss that store. That was one of the best places to shop in my town. And I hate going to Walmart. I really miss not having Kmarts anymore. But it's absolutely so perfect. I love it. We're going to sit that on the back of our fall tray. That's going to be our like kind of main focal point. And then we can fill this up with some other fall and beachy items. I picked this up at the Dollar Tree today. It is a beautiful little bluish green pumpkin with fall leaves and fall flowers on it. It does not need anything. And I think that's going to be a great piece. And then I'm going to use a couple of pine cones to give it a little bit more of a fall touch. And then I found this little stacked ceramic pumpkins that says, "Be blessed, be thankful." So that's perfect for a little Thanksgiving tray. Then for coastal, I thought a Dollar Tree sand dollar, a Dollar Tree starfish would be cute, and just a seashell that I found at the beach. So I just wanted to show you how you could take coastal and Thanksgiving, mix them together and still get something really beautiful. And this little coastal fall tray, I think, is the perfect piece for decor. You can use this as a centerpiece for your Thanksgiving table, or you can sit this on your coffee table. I think that's where I will put mine for November. but I love, especially not skipping Thanksgiving. I always try to decorate for every season, and Thanksgiving is fun to decorate for too. But I think it turned out really cute. I think that little turkey is the star of the show. Great thrift find. Let me give you a little look around the tray so you can see exactly how everything looks. I didn't want to add too many items because I really love that coastal feel of the bottom of it with the palm fronds. Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to use one of these little Thanksgiving stencils from the fall section at the Dollar Tree right now, but we're going to give it a beachy makeover. I found these little signs from the Dollar Tree the other day that are almost the perfect size for the Dollar Tree canvases, and I picked up one of the little beach canvases to put inside. Now, it is a little tricky to work with this frame, so I'll show you what I did to kind of make mine work. As you can see, like, it fits in the inside of the frame, so it's a little bit smaller, but I think we can make this work. Now, the frame is black plastic. It's not super easy to paint because once you paint it, the paint kind of wants to come off if you distress it. So I'll kind of show you what I did. First, I mixed some ivory paint with some Antique Wax by Waverly. It's going to give you a really fun driftwood color. And then using a brush, I am just going around and painting inside, the top, the outside of all four sides. And you can still kind of see the black plastic through that, which is going to be fine. It's going to kind of tend to lend to more of a wood grain a little bit later on. Now, between all of your coats, you're going to have to make sure you give it a good dry with your heat gun, because again, keeping the paint on the plastic is the challenging part of kind of remaking this. I want this frame to look like a driftwood frame to kind of go with the beachy decor. So I'm going over all of the surfaces with that same tinted ivory paint that we did before, trying to cover up as much of the black as I can. Then I'm going to go back in with just straight Antique Wax by Waverly and start distressing all over, giving me that like faux wood grain. I just kind of follow the direction of the side. So I switch it up when I do the top and bottom, kind of give me that faux wood grain, and I make sure I go over the inside and the outside of the frame too. I want everything to be covered with that wood grain. And then I went back and I was trying to kind of wipe it off with a paper towel, but it was taking the paint off as quickly as I can do it. So you got to be really careful with blending it here. I'm going to blend mine very carefully with a paper towel, and I will have to touch it up a little bit. You can see a little bit of the black peeking through, and that's kind of what I was talking about how this frame was a little bit challenging to paint, but we're going to get there in the end, I promise. So I'm kind of touching up any of the areas with that lighter color, that if the black was kind of shining back through. And then I didn't have quite enough paint, so I did have to mix a little bit more, kind of touch that up, because I was really not happy with this. Next time, I don't know if I will blend it with a paper towel next time I paint one of these frames, because again, it did kind of want to take that paint off and kind of make it back to the plastic. And I want this to definitely look like wood. So I went over it with that lighter color again, touching everything up. And then I'm going back in with the Antique Wax by Waverly and distressing everything. This time I switched to a baby white and very light pressure, and it worked a little bit better to blend it. Now for the canvas. I picked up this little beach scene this summer at Dollar Tree. I always like to check all their canvases. You can kind of find beach scenes year-round if you were lucky. I don't know if this was necessarily any specific line. And I found a great scene, and I thought we could just add one of those little give thanks stencils right to the front of the beach scene. So I thought that would be fun, a fun way to do coastal Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to line that up. It's almost the perfect size for these little square canvases from Dollar Tree, and tape that down with some painter's tape. Now for the paint, I'm using chalk paint. I'm using like this marshmallow color and a little stencil dauber from Dollar Tree, and just daubing all over with that. Now I thought since I was using like a chalky acrylic, it would be thick enough to not bleed, but I actually got a lot of bleeding on this. I don't know if I need to use some kind of like stencil adhesive or something, or maybe it was the fact that the frame was only along the edges of the canvas, and so I didn't really have any pressure point from behind the canvas itself, but that's okay because we're going for coastal farmhouse anyway. So I'm going to want it to look distressed. So I'm going to kind of take advantage of that. So I just go over it with a baby wipe, trying to wipe off any of the excess bleeding and kind of whitewashing it a bit. I did have to touch up like one of the words to make it a little bit more legible. And then this top leaf really did not paint well. So I tried to touch it up a little bit. And then I realized I could just add my stencil back to it, touch it up that way. A little bit easier way to do that. But again, going for the coastal farmhouse look, so it's very forgiving. Now that we have our little give thanks all painted, we can pop that in our frame that we painted to look like driftwood. I think that looks really beautiful together. And then I just kind of have to figure out how to make this work. The staples were a little bit in the wrong place because there is like kind of a small gap between the canvas and the frame itself. So I didn't really think I was going to be able to attach it with the staples. I'm going to have to put the back on here, I think, to get this to work. So I just popped out all the staples with a pair of pliers, pulling those out, making sure you don't crack your frame when you do that. And then I'm just going to hot glue the back to the canvas and to the frame. By doing a bead of hot glue on both, laying the back on it, it's already got a hanger on it. So that is just a step saved with this DIY. And here is our little give thanks beach scene with our little driftwood frame. So basically 2 items from the Dollar Tree plus a Dollar Tree stencil. So very inexpensive to make, but it definitely gives you that coastal Thanksgiving vibe. You can make anything beachy or anything coastal. I do it for every single season. And I was happy with the frame in the end. It was a little bit more difficult to paint than I originally thought, but doesn't it look so much better than it did originally? Okay, our next DIY, I'm going to use one of these little thankful MDF wood words, I guess, from Dollar Tree and a thrift flip sign. I love getting trays and stuff like that at the thrift store. I know my Goodwill has like 50% off housewares, or the other day they did the whole store. And it's just, you can get stuff so cheap, just as cheap as the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to mix my own chalk paint for this DIY. So I use turquoise acrylic and I'm using calcium carbonate. I get that on Amazon as well, and some water, and making my own chalk paint because your girl is cheap. It's cheaper to do that, I think. And you can make your perfect custom color of chalk paint. Now I love the color of the tray, the woven. And so I'm going to kind of protect that. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape that off with some painter's tape so that I don't get any paint on there. And I'm going to paint the wood frame of the tray. I want to make a tray that I can sit on my shelf that says thankful. This was the perfect size for that word. And I'll post a link below for the blog where I got the chalk paint recipe as well, in case you want to make your own. And I'm just going to start painting that. Since it is a chalk paint, it's pretty thick, so it covers that dark wood pretty well. And I'm just going to kind of go around all the edges that you're going to be able to see, and also paint the little handles there too. I thought this was just such a quick and easy thrift flip. Still one of my favorites. This would not fit in my storage bin, so it has been sitting out in my garage all year, and I'm always looking at it going, oh, that's so pretty. But definitely going to use this again this year, and just making sure that I have all of my surfaces covered there. The handle was kind of wrapped in some different kinds of things, so I was just making sure that I get in all the little nooks and crannies there, and I get really good coverage. Trying my best not to get any on that beautiful tray. I find trays are they're just very accessible, at least at my thrift stores. It seems like people must be donating those all the time. So now to paint the thankful word, I'm also going to mix some chalk paint for this. I'm just using ivory acrylic, calcium carbonate, and water, and mixing that up, and we are going to paint this word. I love these words. You definitely have to paint them since they're not like real wood. They definitely look like kind of a cardboard finish. And then I'm going to go in with a brush because I want to go in all the different edges of the letters too, because I think you're going to be able to see that from the sides of our little tray. And I want to display this just on my shelf for Thanksgiving, maybe with some pumpkins. So it takes probably longer to do all the sides of the letters than it does the front, but it definitely, I think, makes a difference. Just make sure you don't forget any, like the little holes in the A, the K, that different thing. And I'm going to use another one of these thankful words today. They're just great for Thanksgiving. Can't beat it. I'm just going over the top to make sure that I have very good coverage. I really want that ivory to pop against that wood tray. Now I want to give it a little bit of a coastal vibe, so I'm going to go back and use some of that ivory and just distress very lightly all over with a chunky brush. It's going to give me that coastal beachy vibe of that blue, kind of lighten up that turquoise a little bit as well. If I get too much on there, I just go back with a baby wipe, so you can't really mess it up. And I'm just going to go ahead and take off the painter's tape, and we are about ready to put this little Thanksgiving tray together. That painter's tape from the Dollar Tree, not the best. So if you're going to recreate something like this, definitely, you might want to use better. It's cheap though, so I still use it. And I'm just cleaning that all up, and we can attach the thankful word to the front. This is just a very simple DIY, just some paint and some glue, and we have a beautiful little decorative piece for Thanksgiving. I'm just putting hot glue on the back, pretty good amount because I want it to stay on there when it is sitting on its side, and that's all there is to it. I'm not going to add any more details or anything like that. I think it is a pretty all on its own, but I do want to go back and just kind of lightly distress the thankful with some antique wax by Waverly, just again to give it a little bit more of that coastal vibe, but very light, and then just wipe off the excess with a baby wipe. This was such a simple DIY and it looks so pretty. I'm going to stand it on its side with some just ivory little mini pumpkins for fall. And I love the pop of blue. It goes great with like my coastal decor. And how pretty is that tray? I always love a good thrift find. And who says blue can't be for Thanksgiving? I, of course, try to work some blue in year-round because it's my favorite color. It reminds me, of course, of the ocean. Okay, I got another thriftlet, as well as trays, baskets galore at my thrift store. So always a good place to do that. I'm going to use lots of different blues in this, and I want to do like kind of like a cornucopia, like a coastal vibe. And so I found like some gourds at the Dollar Tree and a package of little gourds and also some of this like Indian corn. One was like a single pack and one was a 2-pack. They're all from Dollar Tree. And I'm just kind of fitting what I can get in there. I also have some of these pumpkins. These are from the Dollar Tree. I painted those for Thanksgiving, just a softer color of pumpkin. Now I'm just going to start painting these things beachy colors. So I am using this blue chalk paint for this gourd, and I'm just going to kind of work with different colors. This one is, I believe, agave. I think that last one might have been pool. I'm just trying to like mix and match. If you put a skewer down these, they're made out of foam. It makes it a little bit easier to paint those. And then I'm also just going to use some foam to dry those. So it makes it a little bit easier. This one is even a lighter color of blue. You can mix a color of blue and then do different shades. Or if you have different shades of blue chalk paint like I did, then you can just kind of create like your own little ombre effect by painting all of those gourds. I'm also going to paint the corn. It's not very pretty, so I think it's definitely going to look better in different shades of blue. Just kind of using a brush so I can kind of get down like in between the little kernels of corn. Kind of gives a fun little effect, and it's very inexpensive. That is really expensive to buy, like at my grocery store, the little Indian corns. And I'm just going to go over my gourds with some more chalk paint to make sure they had a good coat. And as you can see, here are all my different shades. I also painted the little stems of the gourds to match. And this basket, I think, is perfect. I love like the wicker. And I'm just going to fill it with some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. And these are those Dollar Tree pumpkins. I painted the color of pumpkin, and we're going to do kind of a blue and orange theme. And I'm just going to start arranging all these little fun things in there. I love a blue gourd. That's really cute. Until I have a nice full little basket for Halloween. Now this will look great sitting on a counter or table. I'm gonna also put some Dollar Tree starfish in there as well. Super cute. I love the contrast of that. It definitely gives you a beachy feel. And this would look great. It could even be a centerpiece for your Thanksgiving table. Now I got it all in there, and then I decided that handle I thought was a little too dark for a beachy coastal vibe. So I'm just going back with some ivory chalk paint, and I'm just going to distress that handle. I think that kind of gives it more of a beachy vibe, kind of goes more with the color scheme in my house. But I probably should have done this step before I filled it perfectly with all my little cornucopia. So this is another option if you don't want to DIY a cornucopia. You can always use an old basket, even something with a handle like this, something that you already have, something that you can find at the thrift store, and fill it with those gourds and pumpkins and even some like starfish as well. I love the blue and the orange. I think that looks so pretty together for Thanksgiving and was so fun to make. Hey guys, I would love to see your DIYs. Be sure to join our private Facebook group. I have it linked in the description of today's video. We would love to see what you've been crafting. I always love seeing other crafters' projects as well, and you can see what we're working on. Okay, you can always pick up these little Thanksgiving like planters from the Dollar Tree too. I'm going to try to make mine a little bit more special. I picked up one of the ivory ones, and I'm going to kind of add this to my coastal decor, but I wanted a little Thanksgiving decoration. So I'm going to cut out Dollar Tree brown rope, enough for the top and the bottom of the metal pot from the Dollar Tree, so we can kind of line them, frame it out, give these little metal pots from Dollar Tree a little bit more character. This one's ivory, and it says always be thankful, and it has like a little fall leaf on there. And I'm simply going to attach the Dollar Tree rope with hot glue all the way around. I think it's just going to give the planter more character, and I think it looks really pretty to kind of frame these out a little bit. I want to make just a simple little fall floral for Thanksgiving, but I want it to blend in with like my blue and my ivory coastal decor in my home. Because sometimes you just need a little touch of Thanksgiving. I'm going to do the same thing at the top, hot gluing the rope all the way around. And as you can see, this is back in my blue matte days. I switched to white because I think it's a little bit easier to see, but I did love the blue matte too. I fill up the pot with some Dollar Tree foam and then cover that up with some Dollar Tree Spanish moss. And I like to do that first before I add my flowers to it because then you don't have to mess with it later. Now I'm actually using like summer flowers, but I wanted blue. So I'm using the blue hydrangeas and these like little brighter blue ones too. I'm just going to go ahead and cut them all off the wreath form so I can kind of scatter those around. And the reason I'm using blue is because I really wanted to go with my coastal decor, but you could use any kind of fall flowers that you wanted. I did end up kind of gluing down my foam in there just to make it a little bit sturdier. Then I'm going to go back with this like softer blue color and kind of arrange these as well. So, you don't have to use traditional fall flowers if you don't want to. And I am going to have a bunch of coastal Thanksgiving DIYs coming up for you and where I use a lot of blue. And I'm just kind of arranging these all over, filling up that Dollar Tree pot. You could always add a real plant to that with some mums or something like that. Be super cute, but a cute little Thanksgiving planter idea. I used mine indoors on a shelf, but you could always use this out on your front porch as well. The metal, I think, will hold up nicely to being outside. Okay, next up, we're going to decorate my coffee bar for Thanksgiving. I'm going to use like one of these little wooden box signs from the Dollar Tree. And I was trying to kind of like pop it out so I could kind of like repaint the back, but it wasn't really coming. So we're going to just give up and use the back of this. We'll turn this around backwards. And I want to make a shell turkey for my coffee bar. So I thought this sign was about the perfect size combined with one of those little bikini shells from the Dollar Tree. And I can make a cute little shell turkey, I think, out of those. So again, I am mixing some of my own chalk paint with turquoise and calcium carbonate and water. I'm going to brighten this one up a little bit. And what I want to do is I kind of want to do like a beach scene for the background of my little shell turkey, kind of make it look like he's at the beach. So I'm going to combine that turquoise chalk paint that I made with some of the other chalk paint colors I have. And I'm just using a baby wipe to kind of blend those together. And doing a beach scene is so easy. It's just different shades of blue and then blending them together, because that's what it looks like when you like look out at the ocean. You have all your different shades of blue, and you definitely don't need to know how to paint very well to put something like this together. So you can see how I just did different shades of blue, like some can be greener, some can be bluer. And I just kind of keep working with it and blending them until I think it kind of looks like an ocean scene for the background. And this is going to make a great a backdrop for our little shell turkey. That's how it turned out. I think it's super cute. I'm going to mix up some more of that chalk paint with some ivory, and we can start working on our little shell turkey. I love those little, it's like a shell bra. It's from the summer section at Dollar Tree. You can probably still find them depending on your store. I know some of my like country stores, like they kind of keep these kind of out year round because I don't think they really sell out of them. They just kind of move them back by the party section or something. And I am filling in the little holes for the shell bra with some spackle because I don't want it to have any holes in it. I want it to be one solid shell. I want it to look like a shell. So I'm going to go in now and paint this. I think this is the color hazelnut, I believe. And it's a chalk paint by Waverly. And just using a brush, I'm going to go all over that and then kind of distress it all over with a baby wipe to let some of that white shell come back and shine through. And then I'm going to paint, this is just a real seashell that I had from the beach. And I'm going to paint that. I think that color is cashew. And then I'm also going to do a seashell for the turkey head. And I'm going to paint that one of that nice cashew color as well. Now I'm going to go back with that ivory paint that we mixed, and we're going to distress all over just to pick up all that texture in the shell, kind of make it look more like a real giant shell. It's a little perfect to be a shell, but it kind of looks real. And then we can start putting this guy together. The first thing I'm going to do is use a paint pen and draw on some very simple little turkey legs onto the beach, and then kind of try to figure out where I want to put this turkey. I'm going to do a fine bead of hot glue all around the edges of the plastic shell and glue that onto the front of our ocean scene. And I just thought it would be easier to put the little turkey legs on there first. And then I'm going to glue this part of the turkey on as well. And this is going to be like part of the turkey head. I'm going to do like, it's like one of the cone shells. And I just kind of painted that a little bit orange for the beak. It's kind of pointy. I thought it might make a good like turkey head. But you can use whatever you've got. The orange didn't really pop, so I went back over it with some ivory and then used my orange paint pen again, so that orange color would pop a little bit more on the shell and not just blend in. I thought this was such a fun idea to do a little shell turkey. I really think he turned out cute. I'm just going to attach that with some hot glue, like that, with a little beak down. And then I'm just going to use a Sharpie to draw on some little eyes on the side of our shell turkey head. And then I wanted to frame it out a little bit more just to make it more of a substantial piece. So I'm going to use some of that chunky wood from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to make a very simple little rustic frame by cutting these pieces. I'm going to cut 2 pieces exactly the same height as the turkey. And then we'll go back and cut 2 more pieces, this time going from side to side of those pieces. That way I don't have to miter it or anything. And then I just went in and I'm staining both sides of the frame pieces with some antique wax by Waverly and kind of generously going over that with a baby wipe because I really want like the cool wood grain of that craft wood to show through. Also doing the edges that you're going to be able to see. And we're going to have a great wood frame for a little turkey. I think this helps because as you can see, like the shell turkey is kind of sticking way out from the frame. And this is a very kind of a substantial frame that I'm adding to it. It just makes the piece feel a lot better. And so I'm going to glue it like flush with the back of that existing frame that is on there, where it kind of juts out a little bit in the front. And I'm just attaching that with hot glue. Going to do the sides first. Those are the ones that I cut a little bit shorter, and then we can attach the top and the bottom. I love using these little chunky slats from the Dollar Tree for frames. They're so easy to work with, and I think they turn out really nice for $1.25 a piece. And just finishing that last up, I'm also gluing to the side pieces there as well, you can see. And no need to miter quarters or anything like that, just a simple little rustic coastal farmhouse frame for our little turkey. Now, I thought I would decorate a little bit since he's at the beach, and I'm going to add some of these little tiny starfish. I get these on Amazon. I'll try to remember to post a link below for those as well. They are so great for crafting. I've went through a couple packages of them because I love them so much. Now, I got it all together and I thought I was done. And then I remembered that I wanted this shell to be like the other way. That's kind of like how a turkey body's shaped. I had glued it on there upside down and I didn't even notice. So I'm just trying to pull it off. And then I have to touch up my paint because I totally messed it up when I did that. But it was driving me crazy that I put my shell on there upside down because I wanted it to be upside down. It's going to be shaped just like a little turkey body. So we're going to go back and fix it here. If I can get all of the damage repaired and see how that makes way more sense. So I'm just going to glue that seashell back on there. Upside down this time. Now it looks way more like a turkey. Okay, the next DIY is another thriftlet. I picked up this very colorful, kind of large ceramic turkey at the thrift store. Turkeys seem to be, you can find them year round at the thrift store. People like to donate these things. And I'm just going to do a very monochromatic thing with this. Nothing special. It's got all this great texture and stuff on there. And so I'm using that turquoise chalk paint that I mixed earlier. And we're just going to go over everything, like the pumpkins, the turkey. I just want one big blue turkey for our coffee bar. And I like this color. I think it really kind of matches in with that blue pebble turkey that we made earlier with the driftwood. And blue is just a great surprise for Thanksgiving. Now make sure if you find something similar like this, use a brush because you want to get in there as much as you can. And as you can see, like all the feathers and everything on there is just great. This would have taken forever to try to recreate. And so sometimes a thrift flip is your best friend. And I got a good coat on there and gave it a quick dry and just kind of going back in and touching it up more. I don't want any of those colors to shine through because it was very colorful and kind of tacky looking before. And I just want this to be very simple. You know, a lot of times you'll find pieces at Target and stuff like that, where it's just like a monochromatic animal, and that's definitely what I'm going for. So on this coat of paint, I'm just going in there and trying to get all of the little brown cracks and stuff in there painted that bright blue color. So it'll just kind of really blend in together. I think this turned out so pretty. I really like it. And it's a nice large size turkey for my coffee bar. Now, this is just going to be a very quick sign. I got this little tiny sign at the thrift store. You can use whatever you've got. I'm just going to paint mine ivory with that ivory chalk paint that we made. And I just wanted a very simple little Thanksgiving sign. So once I get it painted, I'm just going to use a Dollar Tree window decal for Thanksgiving to make a very simple little sign, kind of like something that you would use for a tier tray. Speaking of tier trays, I did do a Thanksgiving tier tray last year as well in this blue coastal theme. I'll try to remember to post a link to that below as well. It turned out really fun. And a lot of times coffee bars, you need little small projects like this, kind of like you would need for a tier tray. So I finally got that all painted and looking good, and I can go over it with some matte Mod Podge. And I'm going to just use this one that says Gobble Gobble. Super cute, super easy. And that sign was just about the perfect size. I'm also going to do a coat of Mod Podge on top. That's going to take away some of the glossiness from the window decal, make it less obvious that it's a window decal, kind of make it look more like a hand-painted sign, and so cheap. And then I'm also going to slightly distress it with just a tiny bit of ivory to kind of breaking up the perfect writing and stuff like that, just to give it a little bit more of a coastal vibe. And then I found this at the Dollar Tree. The colors are perfect. It's a plastic pumpkin tray. I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm going to use that as is, but I just wanted to show you some of the things in case you see it here in my final reveal. And you're like, well, I didn't see that. I also got this on Etsy a few years ago. Pour some gravy on me. Super cute piece of art that I bought on Etsy. And I don't know if I still have the link to that, but I'll try to find it. Super cute, but you could totally make that with your Cricut. That was before my Cricut. And then I found a gourd and a pumpkin and great colors from the Target dollar spot. Now, my next DIY is I'm going to take some of these Dollar Tree white plain mugs and just make some fun little whimsical Thanksgiving mugs to go with my coffee bar. I put a bar in that has hooks, and so 4 of my coffee mugs are like always on display right there at my coffee bar. So I'm going to do 4 of these. And these are kind of an ivory color, so they're going to be great. And I'm just going to use some of this blue. I believe I got this vinyl at the Dollar Tree. It's like a turquoise blue. And this skinny font, and I'm just going to do little Thanksgiving phrases on each one of them. I love that the skinny font, gives you that Rae Dunn look, but the teal is going to kind of make it go with our like coastal Thanksgiving theme. The only thing is the skinny font can be a nightmare to weed, especially if you're using cheap vinyl like this, but you can kind of maybe take your time or use better vinyl. There's that too. I love how cheap Dollar Tree vinyl is, but I'm always not a big fan of weeding it sometimes. So I'm just kind of taking my time and going through and weeding out all those words. Some of them stayed put better than others, as you can see. And just little fun Thanksgiving phrases. We have pumpkin spice. We have turkey day. We have a gobble gobble, and we have give thanks. And this is that paper, transfer paper that I get on Amazon. I'll try to post a link to that as well. It works great for vinyl, especially this cheap stuff. And I'm going to kind of trim it up a little bit just to help me with my placement to make sure that I get all the words on my mugs lined up well. And it's just like a sticker. It's just going to be peel and stick. And the great thing about this project is that it's so easy to peel off after Thanksgiving. You can use permanent vinyl or removable vinyl. You're going to be able to get it off if you want to. If it's permanent, it doesn't really want to come off. Use a little bit of heat. It will definitely come off. And then you can totally repurpose this. Or I actually saved these for Thanksgiving again this year because I thought they were really cute. And so just lining those up and putting them on, it's as simple as that. We've got our turkey day. And this is just such a cheap way to do that. You know, I'm set up for sublimation, and I know a lot of people have like the Cricut mug presses and stuff like that, but it's really so easy to do your own mugs that I can't imagine like spending all of the money for that, because I don't think it would really be worth it, but it would be fun to do like a sublimation, or that, I guess it's the infusible ink that Cricut sells to do that. But a little bit of vinyl is going to go a long way. You could also do like Thanksgiving pictures if you were doing your coffee bar as well. I also found this gourd and pumpkin at the Target dollar spot too, and they're going to be on my coffee bar. I just wanted to show you. And this is a actual Rae Dunn gnome that I've had for years. I got this at TJ Maxx, I believe, but the colors don't really work, but some of it does. So I'm just going to paint his shirt ivory to kind of like get rid of what was there and see if I can like just kind of change the color scheme of something that I already had, just to make it kind of go with my coastal Thanksgiving theme. So I went in and painted that all ivory with some chalk paint. It did a good job of covering up like the plaid shirt that he had on before. Then I'm going to go back with some of that turquoise chalk paint that we mixed and paint his shirt turquoise. It's going to kind of make him coordinate. I love the little wood block that's on there. It already says thankful in that the skinny font, so that's going to coordinate well with those mugs that we just made. And he's already got like a white beard and a little wood nose, super cute. So he didn't need much. He just needed a little bit just to make him match a little bit better. And I'm going to finish him off with one of those little tiny starfish on the end of his little gnome hat. And he's ready to go. Now, this is another one of those thankful words. I'm going to use this to hang at the top of my coffee bar, but I want it to look like wood. So I'm just using a brush and some antique wax by Waverly and working in one direction, kind of distressing it, trying to give it that like wood appearance, and kind of following that up with a paper towel just to kind of make it look wood since it doesn't really look wood. It's already got a hanger and everything on there. I'm just going to leave that on there. And I don't have a lot of room above my coffee bar, and I think this is going to be the perfect little final touch for it. Now, I was worried that you're going to be able to see it from the edges, so I am distressing all of the edges with that antique waxes from Waverly as well. And then I'm going to go back over it with like a lighter color of brown. I think this is maybe cashew, and I'm just going to use a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree and just kind of distress in that same direction, trying to, again, give it a little bit more of a wood grain. Okay, now this project is super fun. I'm just using some of this orange felt. I think I got this at either Dollar Tree or Dollar General. I thought it was like the perfect color of pie. So I'm just using my ruler and I'm making some triangles. I thought it'd be really fun to finish up my Thanksgiving coffee bar with a little pumpkin pie banner. So you can see how I just used a pen to cut that out, and then I'm going to alternate going back and forth. That way I don't waste any of that felt. And we're going to cut out little pie triangles. Just trying to make sure that I got them all cut about the same size. And trimming those up. Perfect color for pumpkin pie, don't you think? Okay, I think I'm going to need more, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out another one. I always like to do like an odd number on my banners, like 3 or 5. And I think I wasn't very happy with one of those, so I'm just kind of recutting that. So a total of 5 of the little orange felt triangles. Then I'm going to use some of this burlap. This is from Walmart. They also have this at Dollar Tree now, and maybe a little bit smaller of a size. You can use whatever you've got, but what I'm going to do is glue this onto that. See how it has like the finished edge of the burlap? I want that to be the crust of my pumpkin pie. So I'm just going to alternate gluing that kind of so I don't use too much burlap, and I'm using that finished burlap edge for our pie crust. And I'm just attaching that to the burlap with hot glue. It's going to make this a little bit more substantial, having 2 layers. And then I'm just going to go in and cut around the orange felt, just leaving the burlap for the crust. And I'm going to do that on all 5 of these little pumpkin pie pieces. This was so easy to put together, and it was so much fun. And then I wanted like a whipped cream, so I was trying to think of different ways. I had some white pom-poms. I thought about doing that for little dollops, but they were a little too big. So I'm going to use some of this caulk mastic from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to use it like frosting just by cutting off the tip and doing a little swirly swirl, make it look like a little dollop of Cool Whip on top of all of our pies. And this will dry up and be fine for a decor piece. And I decided to go back over and do a little bit more before it started drying to make sure it looks like a nice sized dollop. Now I'm just going to need to string these together to make a little banner for our coffee bar. And I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine to do that. I'm just kind of going in with my heat gun and making sure that is going to start drying. I don't want to mess it up because it looks so cute. Now I'm just finding the center here and hot gluing that burlap seam onto that. And I'm just going to kind of evenly space these out. I'm not going to like loop it over that where you could like change it. I'm just going to kind of put them side by side. They're going to be kind of close together on this pennant. And just very easy little project that's going to take the Thanksgiving DIYs to the next step and look great for Thanksgiving dinner. I'm just going to go ahead and attach my other 2 here. And I think this is going to be the last project for our Thanksgiving coffee bar. Some really easy DIYs and just kind of some surprises with blue turkeys and such. So I'm going to go ahead and hang this on my coffee bar shelf as well. And let me show you how it turned out. I did DIY this coffee bar. I put up some removable wallpaper that looks like shiplap, 2 of these little floating shelves from Target, and then I thrift flipped a little dresser that I got at Goodwill, I think for like $8. I do have a video on my YouTube channel of how I put it all together. And I really enjoy having a coffee bar for my home because I love coffee and I love to dress it up for every season. Dressing it up for Thanksgiving is kind of unexpected. I don't always like skipping Thanksgiving. I really like trying to give it its chance to be decorated for, and just some really fun ideas, DIYs, finds that I found at Dollar Tree and even other stores as well. But I really love that little pumpkin pie, a pennant banner, really fun to make, and just lots of other little fun DIYs. I want to give you a little closer look of each one of the projects because I didn't really do that after each one, and kind of show you how it all came together. I really hope that you got lots of fun coastal Thanksgiving crafting ideas. Remember, Goodwill can be a really good source for things like turkeys and stuff like that are a little bit harder to find because they're so seasonal at the store. But I really love how this came together. It was definitely a really easy project. And I might do another Thanksgiving one this year for my coffee bar as well. And you've made it all the way to the final reveal. We DIY'd 20 Thanksgiving DIYs. Please let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube, on all other social media, and be sure to check out my second YouTube channel, Crafty Little Beach. Enjoy the final reveal.
You could see yourself just sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you, you don't even notice. Should have told you straight away, you don't have to be afraid anymore. I know you haven't noticed.
Light up a fire, let everyone know. The sooner the better, they all want to go. We dance till the morning, or dance till we drop. When morning starts rising, we leave them with all that is ours. Down by the water, we set them all free. Your glowing eyes glitter like the stars by the sea. We all come from somewhere, we all have a doubt. We're chasing perfection, but we'll never figure it out. But somehow we lost it all. In the fall, duck starts barking, your body is set to escape. And after all, stray, but someone here would like you to stay. And all the umbrellas were stuck in the ground. The rain came and filled them up when no one was around. But we saw them coming, and we saw them go.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. That always helps so much. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of my Crafty Beach members for supporting my channel here on YouTube. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Warner, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, Live Another Day, Maren Christensen, Debbie Middleton, Adrian Brolt, Red Mama, Tammy Muir, Donna Tanner. Thank you so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Fun member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my YouTube videos. It's $4.99 a month, and you're free to cancel at any time. Would you like more Thanksgiving Dollar Tree DIYs? Be sure to check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting and happy Thanksgiving.